Where my dogs
What
at?
up?
Where my dogs
Where
at?
my real motherfuckers at? Where my real motherfuckers at? I keeps it real. I don't give a fuck how the fuck you feel. Bitch, get your mind
I gotta
right.
grab my
I'm a
shot
bad
glass so I can be
motherfucker
ready
and
for
I
this
rhyme.
philosophical part.
Go for it.
25 gigs for the Blu-ray.
I'm thinking. We'll use the scene of John doing a shot. It's kind of like the opening, and then we'll play the music over that. And so I don't know. Like, did you see the little calligraphy I did in Microsoft Paint? It was like awful. It was
It's
literally.
a little bit too like romantical, like oh man, oh my goodness.
Yeah. But it's nice to have like a little like logo-ish kind of thing like that though too. And it did literally take me about 1 minute and 20 seconds to draw in Microsoft Paint. So that's how I do all of my logos.
Time and efficiency.
Yeah. Paint is great. I love Paint. I know there's gonna be a bunch of like Apple product fanboy fucktards out there that's gonna have to say something else about like, oh man, you just don't know how to use like the cool new tools. And maybe they're right. They're probably right. I am an idiot probably for using Microsoft Paint. I still love it though. I get my message across in Microsoft Paint real well.
Photoshop is incredible.
Yeah,
like, the
Photoshop.
things you can do with it. It just
See, you are that guy, Gus. You're the one I was talking about who's gonna have something smart to say.
Photoshop is expensive. Paint's free.
I have the free version, but it's the last one before they made it a subscription.
Yeah, that's legit.
My buddy,
Oh,
my buddy
I got to
program.
about one of my fantasies at McDonald's today.
Oh, you did?
You got the
Yeah, all right. So
quarter drop thing every time.
we ran out of large cups, and this old lady I was like, how's it going today? And she's all like, oh, it'd be going better if we had some large cups. And I'm like, hey, listen, I know a lot about these cups, and there's only about a 4 fluid ounce difference between the two. And then she's like, my large cups. So, you know that, like, it's not Burger King, you can't have it your way, that saying?
Did you tell her that?
I told her, well, sometimes you can't have it your way. And then she put the brakes on her car real fast, and she's like, oh, what's your manager going to have to say about that? And I'm just thinking, like, it's not my fault we're out of cups. I mean, I'm not the one that orders the cups. Like, and if you tell my manager, I don't care. Losing that job would be the kick in the ass I need, if anything.
Then he'd really be able to go out there and go get him.
Yeah, it reminds me of a story that I think it's a Mexican story, and
That's what
it is.
One teacher, the government teacher in high school, always said that it's not Burger King. You can't have it your way.
Indeed, it's not. Life is not Burger King.
Woo! Toasty.
Oh yeah.
Spicy.
Looks like it was tasty.
Yeah, man.
Maybe we should all like do shots. Maybe that should be like our thing. Like before, just to get the podcast like kicked off. We'll all do a shot before. That'll be like the way
It's
that
like
think?
we're in Sebring again.
yeah.
We
We gotta
used to
do.
drink that Heritage.
Oh man, dude, I got a magazine of like coupons from like this Hawaiian like convenience store, and one of them was like a handle of plastic bottled vodka for like $12. So they still have it out there if you are young or old and desperate enough for it.
Yeah, you can ruin your life with alcoholism though.
Oh, absolutely.
One of
It's a
my
vice.
friends is getting a divorce because of it.
There's a sense of immorality to alcohol, I think, but there's a sense of immorality to a lot of things, but then there's also I think alcoholism is like a tiger, you can tame it, but you have to remember it's a fucking tiger. It can kill you at any time. It can rip your fucking head off. So,
Yeah.
if you tame the tiger, it can be really useful. But it is a tiger. Remember, it will rip your fucking head off.
Well, I bought this with my first paycheck from McDonald's, and I still have it, so you can tell I'm not an alcoholic.
There you go.
I've had that for like a month, and it's still there.
Yeah. um, fuck. Shit, I'm so hungover right now, dude. Oh man. But anyway,
What'd you
So,
do?
just went out to to Waikiki last night and just I was gonna go for a run and then I got to the place like late, and then my like bike gashed my leg open as I went to go park it. It's not like that bad, but at that point I asked someone for a napkin and he was like, "Here, you need a beer also," and I was like, "All right, I'm not running now."
right.
Yeah.
At least you weren't bleeding.
No, I was bleeding like pretty
Oh.
bad. It was like the blood
You
was like
drink more
going into my
alcohol.
sock. It was like all the way from my knee to my sock.
Oh.
It's almost hard to trust people who like don't drink at all, though.
That's actually a Japanese mentality. Like to make business deals in Japan, uh, before they do the deal, they'll get drunk together with the two parties, and then the whole purpose is that you become your true self and you don't have any inhibitions. So they'll tell if you're trying to swindle them or yeah.
Yeah. Joey doesn't drink at all. Like, it's weird. Very weird.
At least he's not a businessman in Japan. Fuck.
He thinks that alcohol is like the worst thing.
It's not. Just people who abuse it. It turns bad, you know.
If you're an alcoholic, it turns bad.
Yeah, yeah. Like in moderation, it can be a good thing. So
It's a tiger. You can tame it. It can be valuable when you tame the tiger. The Japanese are good at taming tigers, I guess. Maybe that type of tiger.
Well, Japanese.
I look at
have
everything
their
with
own
metaphors. I don't know.
it's a stretch, but I like it.
Yeah.
I
thank
like
you.
tigers.
Well, speaking of Japanese, you know how there's the America has a stronger work culture than Europe. Like, we're all about working, like, gotta work more hours. That means you're being more productive. Japan, their work culture is even crazier. Like, their standard isn't a 40-hour work week. It's like a 70-hour work week or like a 60-hour work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're
In
expected. to
Japan,
work
it's
overtime.
not a 9 to 5. It's a 9 to 9.
Well, the thing is, I think most of the time it's like, oh, you're supposed to work only 8 hours, but if you work past your time, it's looked upon as really good. That's why you see.
In Japan or here? Probably
Japan.
both. Like at
No.
my survey giving job, this chick said she works like 70-hour weeks at 2 jobs. I'm like, damn, how do you do that?
It's a lot. What about vacation time in Japan? Like I know in America, like there's no required vacation for employees. In Japan, do they have required vacation?
I know when the holidays come, they definitely have vacation.
Okay.
So
So like their
Yes.
whole country just goes on vacation at once, and they all come down to Waikiki.
I know
and-
China does that. China
Yeah,
goes on
something like that.
vacation for Chinese New Year, the whole country.
That's like a whole month. They do work their asses off in China too.
They deserve a break.
They probably work harder than I don't know. Do you think they work more hours than Japanese people, Chinese people, or about the same? Because I know they work.
I
like-
think it's more about the culture difference between the Japanese and Chinese. Chinese are kind of obligated, not obligated, but as a
Yeah.
necessity to work crazy hours. Where Japan is,
right.
you can make enough money on a 40-hour job, but as far as you're impressing your leadership or something,
Well,
working
China's GDP
overtime.
has surpassed the U.S. though. That's one thing.
Yeah.
If they wanted to and just make the world start trading oil and Chinese money, they can make the petrodollar worthless.
There's a lot of people trying to avoid that from happening. I've
Well,
seen
they
some
make
articles.
money off us. They make money off us because we buy all their stuff.
True.
But we're also dependent on them. Like, it's a codependent relationship.
That's good. That's a good thing, I guess. Having any kind of stable system like that is desirable. You want to have like
People say
codependence.
codependency is bad, but is that worse than trying to like raise children by yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think in like stable systems and like feedback loop systems. First of all, you can only have a stable system with feedback. And when you have codependency, you have feedback. You have feedback that goes from one party to the other, and from that party to the first party.
It's like I depend on you to do this, and you depend on me to do that. You know?
Yeah.
I think a
Yeah.
major problem that's currently arising is like who's benefiting from the deal between the U.S. and Chinese. Because right now, the Chinese are making a little more out of the trades. That's why, actually, the reason why you hear a lot about this trade war thing is that, you know, that we're trying to level the playing fields and get the benefit of the deal rather than the Chinese.
That's what my
getting the
liberal
benefit of the
friend
deal.
was saying. Like they were mad because GM pays more taxes to China than they pay to the U.S.
I've been trying to say that like we should have been tariffing Chinese goods for a while now because like well first like they treat their employees like in a kind of almost like inhumane conditions and like they have to work such like grueling hours that that's probably a big reason why it's hard for Americans to compete economically with Chinese people and it's not because of a good like economics are usually like that's a good feedback loop system. Like the best product wins, so that's a feedback loop system. But the thing is the reason why their products are winning is because of the inhumanities. So then, like, what do? We do inhumanities back to like compete with them? No, like the only logical thing is to tariff, And I've been saying this for years. I actually have like not like publicly. I like tell people in private, like I think this is what we should do, guys.
Yeah. And another reason why the Chinese are so effective at creating their GDP is their communist regime.
Yeah.
There is no competition, and it's mandated. You do what you're told, and you create one product as fast as possible.
I
And
say
there's
I
How
say
about
no,
a Chinese
like,
I say
thing?
we
delay.
Well, I guess a lot of things are Chinese these days.
I say that we put tariffs on their stuff until they do away with some of that stuff, until they do away with the inhumane conditions, that they do away with some of the communistic principles of like owning 51% of every business in China, which is I don't know if a lot of people would realize that, but every business in China is owned 51% controlling share by the Chinese government. Um,
Oh, you just taught me something.
yeah. So like I mean if they did away with some of that stuff, then maybe we'd want to compete with them like, more naturally than without the tariffs, Like take the tariffs away like little by little as they increase um their humanely practiced economic ways, I guess.
It's hard because one, they have a lot of power, and two, they can retaliate. So we don't want to poke the Chinese dragon too much when we depend on them.
And
for
the
Poke 'em
a lot.
U.S., like, the U.S.
We don't need
isn't
them.
as humane as people think sometimes because
Feedback. You gotta give
everything's
feedback.
expensive as hell, dude. Everything is so expensive.
That's like the thing is that's the notion also like you don't wanna poke like a sleeping beast or whatever, but like dude you gotta tell the beast like, hey man, you're sleeping on my front porch, you can't be here, like you gotta give him feedback or he's just gonna keep doing it, like you gotta give people feedback. Like one thing that I noticed with like kind of like leftist mentality is not giving feedback because you're afraid of hurting feelings. And I think that that is actually from a feminine kind of a perspective. A feminine perspective is about caring about people, caring like how people feel, like not necessarily like logically based on like reality, like how things work, but on like how people will feel about things. So therefore, like you don't want to you don't want to stand up for yourself as much. You want to like be submissive, another feminine characteristic, and like that is kind of what you see playing out.
Yeah, but got to keep in mind that a lot of people's reaction can be based on emotion. Like, those impulsive, angry people, those, flip a table kind of thing. And so in the
Let them flip
mentality,
tables. Then we make the punishment for flipping tables like whatever we need to make it.
but what if you can like prevent that from happening, like in the first place? Like,
The only way you can
Man, I
prevent
thought
it is
my
with
voice
feedback,
was a little
Gus.
serious,
The only
but
way
that's
you can
good.
the only way you can self-correct anything is with feedback. You
All
cannot.
right,
There's
if you see somebody starting to get angry, are you
Yes.
gonna just keep hitting him with like a logic to continue getting him angry, or you're going to switch your tone to de-escalate, kind of calm the person down? You know you're right in the end, but you're trying to make him calm down. Would that be wise, or state your point and
Well, but the thing is with the trade war isn't like it's not like a direct attack. It's because trade is voluntary. It's voluntary. You don't have to trade. You could just say, okay, then we're not gonna, then we won't trade with you. And then it's like, okay, fine. Then like that'll hurt them. Then maybe it's like like a woman getting mad that you said that she looks like she's putting on some weight. She goes and like cries like for a little while and like gets upset, doesn't talk to you maybe, but then maybe she comes back and then maybe she gets along like the right track.
yeah,
If
yeah.
I even tell Michelle, like, hey, take a shower, if she gets mad. Like, oh, I smell like roses all the time.
Dude,
Like, get off. You know what I mean?
This one chick was like baiting me one time. She said, she was like, "Oh, let's go to the beach," and I was like, "Okay, cool, let's go." And then she was like, "I didn't shave today. I didn't shave my legs. You're not gonna make fun of me, are you?" And I was like, "Of course not, Chewbacca. Let's go." And then just like just like a little joke. And then she fucking lost it. That was the end of it with that chick. Like the level, degree to which that she lost it was out of control.
But so if you had the option of doing that joke or not doing that joke and continuing the relationship,
I do the joke every time. Women need feedback, dude. And that's the thing. Like people
but
aren't giving feedback. That's
if
why
it
feedback is so
benefit
shocking.
of that relationship, though, you lost the benefit of that relationship.
Yeah, but the thing is, Gus, like if everybody doesn't give feedback, then you get unstable systems. And that was just
Okay.
evidence of an unstable system. Like her, like
But it was stable before?
no,
No?
no, it's not
Okay.
stable before because like what's going on in her head is not stable.
I know, just making a joke at her expense to make you funny, make you laugh,
And honestly, I didn't even mean. I actually
Bad taste,
don't
kind
really
of.
even care that much, like about.
So you did,
I
yeah.
don't,
The
I actually
benefit
don't
of
care
you
at all.
laughing one time, be having a relationship with her continuously.
Well, you gotta
Good choice.
filter out the bad. You gotta filter out the bad women.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you also
I
got to
agree.
train bad women to
Because
be
you
good
don't
women.
want to be stuck in a bad relationship for the rest of life.
Yeah, you got
That's
to.
hard.
You got
I
to
think
teach
that's
women,
hard.
man. You got to teach women, and women need to teach men. We need to teach each other.
Yeah, like, got to be logical. Keep your emotions out of certain decisions. And then for us,
Well,
probably be more
if your
empathetic.
emotions aren't in the decision, though, you'll never settle down with the chick. Like, if there's no emotions involved, you'll think about it, and you'll be like, well, it's so. If you are gonna be like in a relationship, you gotta kind of like dive in balls deep, head first into the pussy.
Yep, make a splash. Uh, it's like freezing a little bit. Are you guys am I lagging on your guys' side?
I mean,
That's all
not
right.
too much that it matters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, um, yeah, man, I believe a lot of it comes down to feedback. But then also, men do have like responsibility to be, charming because that's what women want. Like women want charming men. Men want fit women. Like it's these things that like men try to like make on their head like it's like, oh, I'm not gonna be charming just because like some girl wants me to be charming. It's just as stupid as like a woman being like, I'm not gonna be fit just because a man wants me to be fit. It's the same idiocy. We need the feedback. We need to listen to the feedback, and we gotta do it.
What if you get the extremes like Jersey Shore or something like that? This whole like
I never watched it, but
weirdo guy who's like overly buff and tan with too much jewelry, and the women who are like scantily clad, lead dressed, and with slutty personalities.
Well, scantily clad women are reinforced because guys like to see that, dude. Like, as a guy,
Yeah, but
like, you
Look what
want
kind
to
of
see
people they are.
bitches
They're
with
just
like piercings
superficial
and
and shallow.
tattoos and all that crazy shit. Like,
It's mixing the
men
moral
need
with the immoral.
self-control to keep these thoughts in line. Thoughts isn't that hoe over there. Not thought. You know that that black people term thoughts? Like, it's a new
I've
term
heard
for
of it,
sluts, bitches.
Right.
Thought patrol. Yes. Men need self-control if we want to bring our society back in line.
We are headed down the wrong path at the moment. Like, the more I see, like, how few families there are and how, how many men and women are single for going
Yeah,
into
I
the
don't know, man.
30s.
Like, these disgusting fat bitches were all like sharing their baby pictures, and then I share a picture of Jay and I'm like, oh, are you a single dad? I'm like, no, dude, I'm happily married. Not everyone is white trash like y'all. Like, why does everyone have to be divorced these days? I don't get it.
Dude, I've had
That's
like
probably what they're
girlfriends.
taught.
I've been with so many girls that like have had like that come from broken up families, and you can tell that they don't trust men because of it. They don't
That
trust
made
men.
me worried to get with Michelle because Michelle's parents are divorced. So I'm like, well, like, are we going to get divorced? I hope not, So there's definitely a leap of faith you got to take, like, to get into a relationship.
You do, and like the thing is, the reason why it's so important is because like once you break that cycle, you kind of you create a downward spiral because that gets passed on to the children. The kids, they see their parents broken up, so then they get broken up, and it's kind of like it multiplies out of control. That's why you need to have conservatism, I think.
On poll, they put it very simply. Your grandparent or your great grandparents, 10 kids married till death. Your grandparents, 4 kids married till death. Your parents, 2 kids divorced. And you, single, no kids.
Dialogue. Oh.
Yep, there's the trend.
And I'm not even like to the replacement level. Like, I only have 1 kid. Like, I need to have at least 3. Just in case one dies.
That was the mentality back then.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Kids die sometimes in schools.
Yeah, dysentery and
Fish
cholera.
died. Do you guys remember Jonathan Fisher?
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, I didn't really. How did
I
how
heard
did he
on
go? Do
Facebook, Jesse was posting that he died. That's crazy.
you know how he went?
With younger people, it's usually drugs.
Hmm.
So I bet it was drugs.
Were his parents together?
Good question.
No, they were not.
Dude, it's ridiculously frequent. Like people don't really.
All of us, our parents stayed together, actually.
Yeah. That's
We're
true.
the lucky ones. That's probably why we're conservative, and that's why we believe in, that's why we're so optimistic about the world, is because our parents stayed together.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of moderate. Just few things like I'm a little
You're a
liberal
good dude,
about.
Gus. You deserve the world.
Yes, individualism, Gus. Be all you can be, and give people feedback, and listen to the feedback when you get it. But I don't know.
But sometimes, like, in this food service thing, I feel like a lot of old people, they go to restaurants just to boss around food service workers, and it's like they want you to lick their ass. Like, it's so annoying.
Remember when we went to Ruby Tuesdays, and then we both went in at the same time looking for jobs, and we both got jobs right there, and then
It's because we knew people that worked there already.
I forgot
It's
who it
not
was.
what you know, it's who you know. Because we applied at a bunch of other places, but the place we got a job was the one we already had contacts on the inside.
I don't remember who it was that I knew there.
Arthur.
That's the thing. A lot of getting jobs is about knowing someone, like to a crazy amount, you know?
Well, my friend Jeff, he was telling me, like, if I want to get one of these corporate jobs, to tell him that I have a kid. But these days, that's not true, because the people that are running these corporate jobs are purposely not having kids ever. So I almost shouldn't tell them.
Do you think it's like do you think it's a cultural thing? I was thinking when you told me that, I thought that maybe their reasoning was, oh, since he has a kid, he's gonna be spending time with his kid, so we can't overwork him. We can't expect him to like
Right.
work like completely
They
dead
want
shifts.
people with nothing tying them down, so you can just, like, one job I went to, there was like mandatory like Monday night get-togethers. Like, I'm like, really? Do I have to like chill with you guys too? Like, it's not enough to go to work. I have to like be your best friend too. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Like, I don't want to be friends with you bitch ass motherfuckers. I'd rather chill with myself. You know what I mean?
the mentality behind that is you work together better if you're friends with each other, kind of thing. Like,
A lot of it is like they would just want a cool guy they can chill with.
Well, back to the whether or not corporations want married people working for them. Imagine like picking up and going somewhere. You know, a lot of jobs involve a lot of travel. It's a lot harder to travel when you have kids, a wife and kids, and I was able
That's
to
the
pick up.
problem too. Like, even at the job fair, I went to the job fair. I thought it'd be all local businesses. They're all in Tampa, and it's like I already have a house paid off here, so it's like, why do I want to take on rent or anything stupid like that? You know what I mean?
if you're balling, you have two places. Then you just go there to work and then come back to Fort Myers.
I need to start my own
Weekend.
business because that's the type of nigga I am. A pussy fucking gangster. God damn.
God damn. Dude, absolutely, man. I think all men should have some sort of entrepreneurial endeavor, whether it's making money at the time or not, but like has a plan for making money. It's about making money. It's about giving to society something that you can give to society. Society gives you something back, but like doing it on your own terms, making decisions.
Well, I want to make some kind of tangible product, like that soap shit. I'm going to be a Tyler Durden type motherfucker. But there's whole soap stores like in Naples, and I don't really think they make like that much money. So I'm not sure if the soap thing is good or not.
Are you
You know
starting
what
a
I
fight
mean?
club too?
I haven't fought a motherfucker in a while. I feel like I need to lift and like, that's the one thing I was thinking about today, like fitness goals. I need to start some fitness goals, take care of these noodle arms, and fucking, Michelle needs to know that like, she's lucky to have me. So I gotta start lifting weights and shit,
Absolutely,
Like,
man.
I need to be able to bench press her like this. You know what I mean? That way
Agreed.
she knows who's boss.
Yeah. And this is one guy, a podcaster on YouTube named Aaron Clary, that says that there's two jobs that every man needs. One is having his own personal business, and the other is staying in shape.
It's a good point. A lot of women, even though they say to the moon and back that, they like men for their personalities, it's not true. It's mostly about physical appearance and strength.
You're fit though, Gus. I seen those muscles when you came to Sebring.
Yeah, it could be bigger, I guess, but it helps. It helps a lot.
It's all mental. You just gotta get a girl alone in your room and you're there.
Ask her to take
I
her
get fit
clothes
because
off.
like I have like standards for women, so it would seem hypocritical of me to not like also adhere to some sort of standards. So that's my reasoning for that.
The women in that job, like, they're unimaginably fat and they still have kids. It's like someone bred with that. Like, maybe they were skinny when some guy bred with them, and then like they just got fat afterwards. I don't know how that works.
That's the case, like, most of the time.
Yeah.
Diet
'Cause they don't
Coke,
need
the
to attract men. They already
fattest
fulfill their
motherfuckers-
duty in nature.
The fattest motherfuckers are the ones drinking Diet Coke. They're on another league of fat.
when the Diet Coke doesn't work anymore.
If you drink Diet Coke, you're either a bug man or a fat ass.
What's a bug man?
Someone that vapes.
Okay.
You
Is
get
that the
my-
best?
they either watch Rick and Morty, or they vape, or they pay 40 cents for that Szechuan sauce when they could get some better sauce.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a general manager of McDonald's one day. You feel me?
Go for it, man. That's
Run the
that's
show.
actually a path, man. That is a valid path for sure.
And once you
It's-
get the experience,
Dude, I don't
Oh.
fit in with the corporate culture of all these jobs, which is why I want to start my own business, but I don't know what it is because, well, with the photography thing on Facebook, it's always like, who needs a photographer? And then like 40 people chime in, and it's like, I'm not gonna shout over you motherfuckers. It's
You
like,
mad because you're getting too much business? Did you make money?
No. That's not what it is. It's people's. Oh, I said that backwards. People say they need a photographer, and then 40 photographers chime in.
Oh.
oh,
Yeah, there's. Now that the digital cameras are a thing,
Cock
it's
block your
like,
customers sort of
any
thing.
asshole can do it now.
Any asshole with a smartphone.
Gotta do
Well,
something novel.
With a DSLR.
Right.
I'll think of something novel, something that hasn't been done.
That's the thing. That's pretty freaking hard to
Photography's
do.
been done. Soap making's been done. I'd like to be a professional rapper, but it's like I'm the illest motherfucker, but I still feel like corporate MTV still won't be feeling me because I'm not 17 years old. You feel me?
If you want to be a professional
So,
rapper,
it's
John, you have my
stretch.
support.
I can't, like, with the family and everything, I can't, because being a professional rapper, like, requires me to fuck bitches, and I can't do that. Like, I'm already locked down and shit, you know?
It could be, like the underground hip hop guys. They're super moral and they have a lot of values and philosophies.
Yeah, we rap about Jesus.
Maybe I should,
Rap for Jesus.
my nigga.
maybe I should paint cars. I could be like a car painter. Because I'm definitely good at that type
Learn
of
it.
shit.
Pretty quickly. I don't know, John. I think
It's
you
tough,
have.
man. Like,
I think you have a very
anyone that's like
strategy.
an entrepreneur and they make some kind of product, it's always like, oh, we're gonna do this thing, but our product is gonna be produced by Venezuelans or Chinese people. Like, it's very hard to open a factory in the U.S. because there's so many laws and regulations, and beyond what you pay your employees, there's legal fees and shit you gotta pay. So like, the government makes it very hard to open a factory here.
The government does make it hard. It's actually mostly, I would say, the Federal Reserve and the government and the way that the government handles the economy. Nobody has expendable income right now. Everybody's in debt, so nobody has money to hire a photographer. Like when you have to choose like in the grocery store brands based on how cheap they are because like you need to stretch your dollar as far as it can go because you got to pay all your bills. You're not going to be able to hire a photographer, buy soap, or buy a new rap album. Like, it's just the fact. Like, there's no expendable money. Like, because interest, every time you pay down, like, some of your debt, you have to pay more in interest back to whatever this, Federal Reserve System is. It's like basically sucking liquidity out of the market. So there's no liquidity. You don't have any cash, you're not going to have any economy.
We need a good ass war. I will die for the fucking cause. I would love to kill some gooks. Honestly,
Oh gosh.
I would love to kill some goddamn gooks.
We'll
And if gooks
send you
kill
in the
me, like,
middle
that's all part of the
China
game. I
with a
would charge
rifle.
into the game if I died in World War III. Honestly, we need nuclear hellfire. That's what we need to kick us in the ass.
Hey, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know about the whole war thing. I know that after World War II, we had the 50s, which gave birth to the 60s, And that was like the 60s. I think like 1969, Summer of Love. That was like the orgasm of American culture. Ever since like then, it's
People
been
hate
just
on
like
that shit
hung
though.
over.
It was a
There
response
was
to
that
Vietnam,
period
though.
movie. Oh, go on, guys. Say what you're gonna say. I'm talking
Well,
too much.
The 60s, the whole hippie movement was just a response to the Vietnam War. We were fighting a losing battle and sending tons of troops to their death for a terrible strategy. So people fought back. It was the draft that people fought back, and peace was a whole, counter argument to that war. So
Yeah, but no one gave a fuck about us killing the ragheads in Iraq and Afghanistan.
it's because
So,
we aren't throwing waves of men and dying there, and there's no draft. So most people don't even know that the war was happening. Like people
They knew
don't-
better than to have a draft because people that want to... I talked to the recruiters at FGCU, and they said, like, if you want to fight wars and kill people, join up. But if you just want to do this as an alternative, don't do it.
Wait, if you want to join to kill people, then sign up. But if you want money, don't do it. Is that what you said?
They were saying, like, if you're about fighting wars and killing motherfuckers, join the military. But if you're not about killing motherfuckers, don't hop on there.
Hang on, my last house about that.
It
Gus,
depends on the branch, I think.
what do you think?
Yo, depends on the branch. I mean, a lot of the Army Marines are the ones that run at bullets. But overall, most of the military it's like a small town. Like there's a medic, there's
If I didn't have
there's
a family, I would
construction workers, firefighter. Like it's a small town, just all people in one job. So
Laptop's about to die.
oh, John, something I was gonna tell you and it came to mind. There is one strategy of trying to make a new product with low startup costs is pharmaceuticals, where there's companies in China that make pills, and all you have to do is send them your formula, certain drug. They'll make that pill for you for like pennies on the dollar, and then ship them to the U.S. and then you could sell it for however much you want, but except for the FDA approval thing. But there's tons of drugs that are not FDA approved. So that's one great way to make a lot of money. You just got to know how to build the right chemical.
I've done enough drugs in my life, Gus. I need to go on to the next thing.
Yeah,
like
There's a lot of get-rich-quick
it's crazy.
schemes.
Like kids don't play with toys anymore. They just play with like computers. Like it's a different world than when we grew up. I feel like it's different now than it was when we were kids.
Oh yeah. Definitely don't have a tablet, So think about this. Like there's a whole generation who were raised on the television. Now there's a whole generation raised on a tablet, So kind of think about what happened to the TV generation, and now what do you expect to happen with the tablet?
According to
Generation.
according to one of my business professors, the world all went to shit since 1985 when the original Nintendo came out.
For the arcades, like people were up in arms against it because they thought it was destroying their community.
Well, at least
'cause-
for arcades, you have to leave the house, and it's a limit to it because you have to spend quarters on it.
Like, remember pinball machines were banned in like several states?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, because they thought it was like, oh, it's destroying our community. Our kids are becoming terrible. Instead of, playing with their friends and doing good things for the community, they're just stuck on the pinball machine. So they banned it. They passed legislation to ban it. And then, like, for example, I forgot what state. It's like New England, like Vermont or New Hampshire, where they just passed a law to unban pinball machines because nobody even thought about it. That was still an existing law there. It's like 2015, 16.
You know what causes things to be banned? Women.
Beer.
Women, nannyism.
Oh yeah, I was telling you guys about this.
Dude, nannyism
as
is
soon
what.
as women got the right to vote is when Prohibition happened.
Yeah, prohibition. Like there was a bunch of rope swings in Orlando. There was 4 of them. All 4 of them were cut down. Lawsuits, maybe, or frivolous lawsuits, maybe. I mean, if somebody falls and dies, that's on them. It shouldn't
A
be
lot
anyone
of
else's
people
fault.
need to just kill themselves.
Yeah, but if it's on your
They're making our
property, you
world
get
shitty.
sued.
Yeah, but that notion right there is the most fucking stupid, ridiculous notion ever. And it's only there so that lawyers can make money off from it. You know, like if there wasn't
Yeah.
a monetary incentive for lawyers to have that law, then that law wouldn't exist. Law is so complicated because and law has so many loopholes because there's so much fucking details in the law. There's too much information. People think like, oh, we need more laws because then that'll close the loopholes. No, motherfuckers. The reason why there's loopholes is because there is so much law. You have like all this like verbiage, like just like the more simple, concise, to the point, the easier that the populace can understand, that they can make decisions about what they're gonna do, like with regard to the law, and things will work better. Rather than just trying to like shield all of society from rope swings, because they're afraid of death. But guess what happens?
Nanny state.
Then nobody lives. Nobody lives if you don't have if you don't have rope swings. If you're not allowed to start a business that some people might get salmonella. I don't know. You gotta have some things I don't think the FDA is like a waste. I think that
those
paperwork is a waste.
Yeah, those like obstacle courses where you have to run in the mud and stuff. I think that's a resurgence of like the feedback loop system from having such a like nanny state sort of thing.
Wait, say it again?
You know what I'm talking about? Those obstacle courses,
right?
Where you get in the mud and you go with your friends and
yeah, like a mud run and stuff. Yeah,
mud run. Yeah,
all those things.
I think it's like a feedback for being such a safety conscious society.
Oh, yeah. It's like the perception of danger. There's still some sexiness to it, from our primal urges for that kind of thing.
Adrenaline, yeah, it's a whole fight or flight instinct kicking on and going to go do something.
Dude, if you've never,
you just do it. Just fucking do it. Do whatever you want.
If you've never had a close brush with death, then you've never lived. You gotta get a little close to death sometimes. You gotta poke the beast. Sometimes that beast is a tiger. Sometimes it's alcohol. We don't need to be nannied. We need to make our own decisions.
If you've never driven drunk, you never lived. As long as you
we
stop
shouldn't
all
really
the
encourage
signs,
that, Josh.
We were actually
That's
having
what
this
get you for following stops.
Sometimes you gotta find out if you can do it. I don't remember riding my bike home last night. I opened my backpack. My helmet was in my backpack. I think I rode home with no helmet on after drinking copious amounts of scotch. So I'm still alive though, but I shouldn't do that again. I lucked out.
Oh gosh.
I'm a little hungover, but I'm good.
Yeah, I missed out on a musical concert because my girl. Oh, we gotta spend quality time together and watch this movie. I'm like, dude, let's go to that rock show. Nope. So you
I guess
guys
it's a
were lucky
compromise.
in ways
You
to, be
do what
single,
she wants sometimes, and she does what you want sometimes.
I don't know about all that.
What?
I think that man should care about he should try to pass the role of decision making to his woman, but I think the what the man says should go. That should be law. But you should at the same time still try to give some of that responsibility to your woman from time to time. But sometimes you got to say no, and whatever the man says should go. I fully believe that actually. I know it's a crazy. Ridiculously, I know how crazy it sounds, especially in this day and age, but I still believe it. I still think it's true. If you look at all the crazy shit that's happening, it all points to that. You know, men
I know,
understand
that-
how the world works.
That could get out of hand if everyone did that.
Like, and I don't believe that just should be like, you know, abusive relationships. Like, if someone like, you definitely don't want to abuse the person. You want, like, it's all about respect, you know, mutual respect.
Do you think
It's
for each other.
tough
everyone's gonna
because these days
do
you gotta
that
be
correctly?
like perfect, or even fat bitches will turn you down. Like these fat bitches in my job, they were talking about like how glad they were to be divorced and like they hate their men, and it's like, dude, your men would probably be better behaved if you weren't fat ass bitches. Like, lose some goddamn weight, and then maybe the world will respect you. Like, there's skinny bitches at my job with zero personality, but people will still respect those bitches just because they're skinny. So it's like, what do you do? It's like the two biggest problems in America: obesity, single moms. And then obese single moms is a very big problem because their
A
mass
large problem.
is enough to draw the moon closer to the Earth. And it's like, you gotta lose some mass. You gotta lose some mass and get rid of that pooch, and like then maybe a guy will be down to like have your sloppy seconds.
But dude, I was
Like, lose some fucking weight. Diet Coke's not gonna help you. Burn calories, you stupid bitch.
Eat
Kill
some
yourself.
vegetables.
Yeah, they took down fat people hate, so now there's no way for them to get feedback, so now they're just ballooning out of control. But you know, like,
Because
See,
the government
Europe,
wants
like,
that.
there's
They want
rarely
shit
women
to
that
get
are
out of
obese.
control. We can have an excuse badass war. And like, if I die in the war, it's fine because I'll be advancing humanity.
it's noble of you, John.
Or I gotta look at who benefits from those things the most, and
Well, they say pork is very close to human beings, so like, I'll bet that human belly tastes great. Just kidding. Don't take me down, Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not a cannibal. Trust me.
well, I
I've
think Bill
never
Gates
killed
owns,
anyone.
right?
I've never eaten anyone, and God help me, I'm a very caring individual, and I always treat every customer like a good human being.
With a
Likely
smile on my
story.
face.
You know, in Papua New Guinea, there's still like cannibalistic tribes there. Like,
You
there's certain
know,
areas-
I don't want to die, dude. Like, it's tough to think about. Like, they get killed and eaten. Like, that'd be a very tough way to go, you know? Like, I don't want to get killed. I want to live. I actually told Jay earlier, I'm like, you know, I want to die before I get old because I see these old people and it's just like, they're very pathetic. Like,
Poor Jay.
He told Jay
He
this.
said, don't do that. He said to live as long as I could. You
Dude,
know?
we have the
Yeah.
technology now.
There's a
Like the
responsibility when you have a
medical
kid to
technology.
be around as long as you possibly can for the kid. It's like the longer and living longer in general is obviously, you know, desirable. But like, you know, like Zapata said, it's better to die on your feet than live a lifetime on your knees.
I remember disagreeing you.
We might have to get
disagreeing
Joel
with you
on this
about
next
this.
time.
Oh, Joel doesn't even have a laptop though. He's only got a phone. But you can Skype on your phone,
You
right?
can Skype on your
Yeah,
phone.
you can.
Yeah.
This is the future. We
Dude, this is
fucked
the
with
future, man.
That's what I tell everyone. It's like, it's great living in the future.
It's crazy.
That's what my economics teacher said too. Like, he said
Oh.
he'd rather be a poor college professor living today than a rich oil tycoon living in the early 20th century, just because of all the technology and like free video games we have today. He was like, yo, I fucks with that.
Air conditioning,
And
refrigeration.
Vaccines.
Dude, I think even all right, so economically speaking, like women's fertilities and their bodies in particular are they're commodities. You know, the same way that, you know, like a water supply, it's something that you need to like take care of and don't taint or pollute. Like for your survival, and your survival depends on it. And so you get economic forces involved with those things, and that's why, you know, super hot chicks, they, you know, they are you could say that they're overvalued in society, but are they overvalued in society? We value that. And maybe right now they are
Their value goes up because
abnormally
there's so many chicks that don't take care of themselves.
right. You're
So
right.
like a fit chick that does take care of herself, the value goes up because they're more scarce.
Yeah, they're more scarce. So that exactly it. It's about economics. It's all about the economic principles of scarcity, supply, demand. So like the supply is just like fucking plummeted. This one, I was listening to this Freakonomics thing. Uh, this it's kind of funny to hear like liberals
Remember
talk
Dano's
about
sister,
conservative
James
ideas.
Rotroff, he just went across and went with a fat chick, Dano's sister, and they have like 2 kids, and it's like he just settled for a fat chick, and I guess it worked out for him. I don't know.
Succeeded in nature, right?
I don't know.
But your
He
pride
has
won't allow
kids.
you to go with a fat chick, you know?
Is
He
that the
didn't
problem?
have pride because people made fun of him a lot, so he just went for like a fat chick.
So is it beneficial by survival having a strong pride or a weak pride in that situation?
I don't think it's about
I
pride.
guess the
Listen,
weak
I don't think it's
pride.
about pride. It's about the economics. It's about the actual amount of woman fertility and the amount of male fertility and the amount of perceived suitorship on the men's side and on the women's side. Men have to be, men for women, and women have to be women for men. Like they have to play those roles, and like this leftist culture that's going on right now in colleges and the government and fucking Google and everywhere else is just like trying to erase this notion that is like it's a stable system, like this concept of femininity and masculinity. We have it in our DNA, we have it in the chemicals that are released in our bodies, we have it in our abilities, we have it in our brains. Like men's brains have like more like white matter in it, and or gray matter.
Gray matter.
Yeah, it's more gray matter, and women's brains have something else or whatever. We're just different, and like why would you want to like
Is that
everyone
number
be the
5,
same?
John?
Huh?
What?
I think that was number 5 for you.
I'm gonna have a beer.
I lost count.
I counted 5.
I'm about good. I'm hella drunk.
Which one do you think of these beers is better, the Mick Ultra or Honolulu Cocoa Weizen?
Definitely the more indie hipster one.
Huh?
Yeah.
Go for the
The
hipster.
hipster one.
All right. What? I'm still
I don't know.
hungover though, so I need
flavoring,
something
I'm not
light
sure
though.
about that. I'd rather go with like Steel Reserve.
Definitely not drinking any Steel Reserves right now, but I need water, so I'm gonna get a Mick Ultra because that's more like water.
Yeah. Get them the close.
So yeah, man, technology, the internet, we're able to fucking just do this. Like this was not hard at all to put together, like one bit. It was the easiest thing ever.
Yeah,
And James Rotroff, if you're listening, I'm proud of you, and your evolutionary fitness is insane. I know you're a Marine. Don't come kill me, all right?
Wow.
You're safe,
Because
John.
once a
You're
Marine,
safe. You're safe
always
from.
a Marine.
Now you're safe from Mark Zuckerberg, James Rotroff. You're safe from all the. You gotta check all the boxes. Wise man.
Well, I always wanted to be cool with everyone, but sometimes there's people you can't be cool with. Because some people are not cool.
People can learn, right?
No, people don't learn. People,
Sometimes. That's if they want to.
Do you think if someone watches enough comedy videos, like stand-up comedians, like they become funnier? You think it's possible?
Yeah. Because eventually, out of all the jokes, few of them will hit their, funny bone. Eventually, more and more will hit their funny bone until they start catching on to the type of humor.
Right, but pattern recognition, because I think humor is like pattern recognition, like for the most part,
It
like
is, yeah.
some sort of pattern recognition, but can you teach? You could teach someone what a pattern is, so they could repeat the same joke, but can they just from hearing other people tell jokes be able to come up with new jokes on their own? That's what I'm not sure about. I don't think that they could really. Maybe unless you studied it.
I'm sure anyone can.
And try to, yeah, but It's actually like
mental faculty for it.
it's like a function of the brain. It's like of abstracting and coming up with an abstract pattern for something and applying it to multiple things.
A lot of people say like you shouldn't even create your own jokes and you should just repeat jokes you've heard, because when you try to be funny, you're not funny at all. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't know, man.
At some point, the joke was created by someone you heard it from before, so it was created.
But sometimes jokes are just a happy accident, like, because you see something in real life and then you commentate on it, and it's like, wow, that's really weird.
The funniest thing
like
that
what
said,
Trump
I was
said
not
about,
intended.
That joke that Trump said about he's never seen a thin person drinking Diet Coke. If he never made that joke, I don't think he ever would have been president. Because it's true as hell, and I believe in it. And it's like, wow, we actually have a real ass motherfucker who's president who like fucks porn bitches and like doesn't give a damn.
I was
And
watching a
he's gonna
podcast.
elect handily.
I was watching a podcast, and they were talking about how the whole Trump campaign happened, and the conclusion was that he is an entertainer. He's like a comedian. He works the room, he knows people's humor, and then makes the jokes, and gets the favor on that. And he's good at it.
I don't get
He's
why
a real
people
estate
hate
jockey.
him so much, 'cause he's just a
Hey
regular
everyone,
guy.
buy our
Like,
fancy apartments.
Any
Get
Since
appreciation.
Obama, any Republican is like very hated. Before that, like even Nixon, they were calling Richard Nixon Hitler. They were saying that Richard Nixon was Hitler, and it makes zero sense. Because Nixon was my favorite president historically.
Really? What did he do?
Yeah, like he was just real as fuck, and like
I'm not a crook.
that Watergate shit was very much not as bad as shit Bush did, shit Obama did, shit Bill Clinton did, shit that Reagan did. Like, he fucked
I mean, the
with,
stuff you
like,
might not know about.
Nixon did president shit, and people hated him for it just because he was Republican, If a Democrat did Watergate, he would get away with it easily.
I couldn't comment on that one.
Nixon was a real-ass motherfucker, and I will always support Nixon.
Well, that's the
Trump
thing.
has a statue of Reagan in his office.
She got a Nixon statue.
Well, Reagan did some kind of gunman shit, and he also amnestied the shit out of some illegals. So I feel like
He's an
Trump's gonna
actor.
do the same
He
thing,
became a
'cause
president.
Trump co-opted Reagan's slogan, and I also feel like Trump did that bump stock ban, and he's gonna be like, oh, okay, we just built the wall, but we're also gonna give the DACA people some amnesty. I feel like Trump's gonna do that because he modeled all his shit after Reagan.
Yeah, they both, you could say that both were entertainers. They're very kind of similar, their demeanor, probably in that way.
Trump is actually the richest
Wow.
person to ever become president.
Who's another, like a lot of the media, like people like actors and film producers and those kind of people are very liberal. There are like a few conservative ones though. Like you guys hear like William Shatner is like a Republican, and like I think like leaders in those communities like tend to be, I don't know, but maybe then you got George Clooney. You can say George Clooney's a leader and he's leftist as all fuck.
He only
Clint
lives just so
Eastwood.
he can get pussy though.
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, might be because he's such an attractive man that he doesn't like experience women the same way that normal men experience women.
Or his relations, like all the movies he's made and the actors and the connections he made require him to be liberal, or else he would lose those networks. So it'd be, wise to keep, your perspectives in line with your friends. So
Apparently, like agencies,
I
like
wouldn't
talent
get too deep
agencies.
into politics.
what, John?
I wouldn't get too deep into politics because I've seen the people that are deep into it, and it's like, at some point you got to think about real politics, which is seeing what needs to be done and doing it.
Yeah.
I think this
agree.
podcast is real politic, man. I think this was needed, and we did it.
Real politics.
It was real politic, right? With a K. I don't know.
Yeah, like how Putin fixes the elections or some shit. I feel like he's probably more admired than we think, though. Like, he could win them legitimately, I'm sure.
Well, there's a ton of propaganda in Russia for Putin, like excessive, like songs and stuff that kids are taught in school.
In a way,
That's
though, I feel like we can't actually understand what goes on in other countries because we have our culture that we're bred into, and they have their culture that they're bred into. They could never understand what it is to be an American, and we could never understand what it is to be Chinese, or what it is to be Russian, or what it is to be Ugandan. Like, we can have our Ugandan knuckles and shit, but we don't really understand what it is to be like a Ugandan.
You do, you
Like,
know
they
the
say
way.
Africa's a shithole, but I feel like there's some like real ass motherfuckers like spreading AIDS out there, living a life that we don't understand.
Well, a lot of it.
We need to be out there spreading more AIDS, man. Get paused.
I know.
I
You know,
was afraid
America has
I
a
might have
huge
AIDS
problem
just
with
'cause,
not
like,
covering
all
stuff
the
from
bitches
outside the
that I
U.S.
fucked, like before. But it's been about 10 years and like I haven't had any serious AIDS symptoms, so I think I'm alright.
You're good, John.
Did you go to West Africa in the past 10 years?
I went to Gainesville, but
Same thing.
Same thing. Oh god.
Any blood transfusions in Venezuela recently? Or I don't know. I think that's the questions they ask you.
But yeah, I think a big problem is that the U.S. doesn't really, the media doesn't expose the citizens, U.S. citizens, to what other countries are doing. So, but it's the other way around. Like all our movies and shows are all translated and sent over all across the world. So that's why one of the reasons we have such a powerhouse as the Americans in the world.
Information, man. Like when it comes down to it, information really does control like everything. Like people don't realize like oh, information. Oh, he's an information scientist, just like any other type of scientist. Nah, not exactly. Information is like how your body works because like your brain is the central information agency basically that sends the
and
messages.
think about how many things that you don't actually know firsthand, but you also 100% believe to be true just because it's what you've been told. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, the news reported on it, so they're 100% right, so I believe in it.
That's why I think I'm more like I feel like I'm like I have this thing that I say like, oh, everyone thinks that they're like smarter than everyone else, but only I can correctly make that statement. Ha ha ha.
I fucking love science. Oh my god,
Right.
like these snails, like they have recreational sex and they're like crazy, and it's just like,
Rick and
oh my
Morty.
god,
ah!
these fucking like plastics and shit and styrofoam. Oh, we gotta ban styrofoam and shit because the oceans. And it's like,
Well,
like
I
it's
think it's
airway.
good. I think it's good to preserve stuff. I do think it's good to preserve stuff, especially the
There's
floating
a lot of
trash.
things that could be being done that aren't being done
Yes.
that could be better. But people don't give a shit because it's like, well, let's keep those wheels turning, let's keep shit going on, and let's keep selling shit because it's like, what is our
Growth and
culture?
development.
Well, I don't know.
Putting
I don't know how
money
it's gonna play out. I don't know how it's gonna play out with the amount of debt that we're in. What happens when we can't make interest payments on our debt? Then what happens if we can't even afford to pay the interest? Like, what do we point guns at them and say, "Oh, the interest is now 0%"? Is that what we say?
Well,
Or do we just keep doing it then? Maybe that's what we do. Maybe that's the plan. The big plan
We
is
just
Remember-
clean the state.
we
We
stop
just
paying
in World
we
War
just
II.
forgive all the student loans, and we
Do you
forgive
think
all the
that that's gonna
interest.
happen though? Do you think they're just gonna forgive all the student loans? Like, isn't that a big
It's all
fuck
about
you to the people that
control.
did pay off their student loans?
It's all about control, and it's all about. It's like you made a bad decision, now live with it to the whole country.
Yeah, I think if you go back in time, you look at everyone's decisions and have some sort of objective way of like classifying like whether the person, deserves or not to be in debt. Like we shouldn't have people in like the amount of debt that people are in right now. That just shouldn't be a thing. And you know why it shouldn't be a thing is because we can't create companies now because nobody has money to buy things. So we can't create
So
companies. So we're stuck working at these corporations.
monopolies. I
Well,
mean,
they doubled the
we're kind
price of
of an
hash browns, but
oligarchy.
they ain't doubled the
I think
wages.
that's the whole intent. Isn't that the whole Republican Party
Prices are going up.
agenda?
The wages are not going up as much as the prices are going up.
The rent
Reduce
is too damn high.
size of government and
The
give
rent
more
is too
control
damn high,
to
party, and
corporations.
Dude, we should run for the rent is too damn high party. Is that like? I get behind that. The guy with the facial hair.
the problem is people that have given a lot up and have very good discipline and are in great jobs, have lots of money. I mean, y'all two have like $100,000 salaries, so like y'all probably don't even like give a damn, you know?
Yo, Gus, I think that like the NSA is like surveilling your video feed there. I see.
We need a simple.
Oh, you see the
method.
tracks coming?
Those are all the bits that they're sniffing. Just like
No, it's my camera. It's like from the 90s.
from the what?
90s, it's old.
It's gotta be from the early 2000s because
Yeah.
the 90s is too.
It works all right. It's kind of a cool effect.
I'm actually hacking into like 3 types of proxies, and this encrypts my image so I can't be traced. That's why it looks like this.
Dude, I don't even have to stand up to get another beer. How fucking like lazy am I? I roll my chair a little bit over to the fridge.
I don't gotta move for a shot.
I love it.
Life's all about conveniences, like creating conveniences.
Yeah, man, we wouldn't have it without technology. You know, people say like, "Oh, technology are stealing jobs." You're fucking idiots, dude. Yeah, why don't you go back and work in the field then? You know, well, you could throw the tractor away and go fucking work in the fields, toil in the fucking dirt for fucking, like 80-hour work weeks. You know, go for it. You know, have a blast. You know, I'm not about that life. You know, I'm about being as lazy as I possibly fucking can, and that is what makes a good engineer. A good engineer is someone who is lazy because they will automate things. I'm a very lazy person, so I automate everything. The most recent code projects I've worked on, like most of them, is code that writes code because I don't want to write the code again. You know, and you could put unit
Makes
tests
sense,
on.
yeah.
You know, put unit tests on any self-generated code. You always put unit tests on your most important code, the code that's the most critical. You always unit test that. You don't unit test everything. Yeah, this is another hot topic issue like within corporate software development world. But yeah, you should always unit test your critical code, and I believe that you should always write self-generating code because we keep rewriting and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting, and we're just I don't know how people think that this is just being like efficient. Like it's like adding new laws. We add new laws because we're closing the loopholes, but we're just creating more loopholes. We're adding more software, thinking we're fixing things. We're actually creating more problems. In a lot of cases, it's about simplicity, fundamentals, and values, just like conservative values. You can actually boil a lot of stuff down to
For
the
every
principles.
new regulation we make, we're gonna scrap 2 old regulations.
Yeah. Yo, and when I check in code, if I try to like delete more code than I add. If I delete more code than I add, I'm like proud of myself. I'm like I just made the system simpler and like better. I always look for that red.
If only we can apply that everywhere.
It can be applied in a lot of cases. You should only be adding
What people want,
in information world, you should
people
only
want
be
is very
adding like fundamental truths. You should only be adding like really, really, really fundamental truths, not patches, not little band-aids for certain legal situations that might arise. It shouldn't be about that. It should be about fundamental truths and then extending those fundamental truths. You got to start with fundamental truths, though.
What about fundamental falsehoods?
I think people do think like this though. In some cases, like they think equality is like a fundamental truth, but the problem is it's not. The equality is not a fundamental truth. Um, Zipf's law is a fundamental truth. Zipf's law says that the ranking of something in a system is going to the significance of it is 1 divided by its rank. So like the number of words in all this entire podcast that we say, the number of times we say the will probably happen the most, and then the next most common word will happen, half as much. Next most will be a third as much. Next most will be a fourth as much. It's a fully baked out Pareto distribution for every single rank of something, and that's how humans will be ranked with height, with wages, with everything. Um,
20/80 ratios, right?
yeah, 80/20, yeah. And that's why that 80/20 thing exists.
I took an IQ test a couple days ago.
Oh yeah. You gonna try to dazzle us with your scores here, Gus? What are you, Mensa now?
What? I'll give a nice little guessing game here. So.
Oh, you say higher or lower?
No, you just tell me what do you think I got, and then.
Can we do higher and lower?
But you have to take turns. So who wants to go first?
Are you smarter than 99% of people?
Yes.
Wait, is that how?
So you're the one. You're the
no.
smartest person in the world.
Actually, no, I'm not.
Wait, you're. Let me guess. 141.
No,
You gotta say
lower.
lower. Okay. 128. Well, it's John's turn. Sorry. Go.
John's turn.
Oh, it's the IQ, not a percentile.
Well, there's a
You have a
percentile,
120
too.
IQ. A 120 IQ.
One.
Damn,
131.
This motherfucker's
131. Guess.
Down.
125.
Oh, so close. 124.
124. All right.
And I'm 95 percentile. So.
John asked if you were 99 percentile, and you said yes.
I mean, I was looking at the bell curve a little different from what they had on the, because it goes 95%, and then each spot is like 2% more on each side. I'm in that 2% section.
I think the IQ thing is like it's just like height. It's just another thing you do. Like it's just the cards you're dealt, and you would still do just as much, with anything else than anyone else.
But it's a good measure to see like how successful someone is in life.
Did you lose, John?
Did John drop out?
It looks
Yeah.
like it. Yeah. His laptop might have died, like mine almost did. Man, it's interesting.
So-
Look at this pattern going on your screen. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
It's a good measure to see how successful someone is going to be in their life. So.
Yeah, it's probably also a good measure of stability for overall. Like if you have more high IQ people, you'll be solving problems more. You won't be like living in squalor. You'll have a sewage system, for instance.
Yeah.
Which that I don't know why the fuck we can't if we're gonna be around in the rest of the world doing shit instead of blowing shit up, why don't we go out and be like, look, we'll be your guys' fucking sewage expert. We should send the military out. Now I'm not saying that I want you to have to go clean shit up, Gus, over there in your military career, but you are getting a nice salary there and a nice pension for the rest of your life. So the least that you could do is go around the world and create toilets for people, because they're living in shit, dude. Let's give them toilets.
Well, that's more. So, I think
Unless we want to keep
solution
them down.
more would be for them to improve their IQ rather than us taking care of someone with low IQ. What would you rather do? Of course, you want to try to improve somebody's IQ because
Right.
if everyone has a lower IQ and society's going to be full of dummies that you're going to run in, bump shoulders and cause problems with,
So the old
So-
give a man a fish, he eats for one day. Teach a man a fish, he eats for life.
that sort of thing. And then one day he give you a fish,
Well, Well, yeah, you gotta teach them about like sewage. Like in Haiti, we blew so much of the Clinton Foundation. What did they fucking they um embezzled like all the money, and then they just they didn't hook them up with anything. So now they still don't have sewage. They still don't have houses. They still don't have like, dude, Haiti's a mess, man. That's like right next door. That's like it's a real.
Yeah.
It's terrible over there.
I've heard.
Just awful.
Then Dominican Republic was. I think the reason why is like one side was French and the other side was Spanish.
Are we talking
And,
about
like, one-
Dominican Republic? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, Dominican Republic was the Spanish side, and then Haiti was the French side.
Yeah.
So I think what had happened was, from what I remember, it's like one side, they were both given the option: do you want to gain independence and cut ties with your country, your colonize a country? Haiti said yes, and then Dominican Republic said no, and they prospered, economic. Yeah. And Haiti just lost all its economic value, something like that. from what I
Well, no.
remember.
Well, they got debt for loss of property, meaning the slaves.
Huh?
Yeah.
What, in Haiti?
Yeah, Haiti had to pay France for loss of property because of the slaves.
Oh, was this
that
how
was
far ago?
that was yeah, that was like right around the French Revolution. It was the Haitian Revolution.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
So they
That's
were
hor-
they were in debt for 100 years, I think, before they finally canceled the debt. Maybe even more than I think it was over 100 years. So that obviously crippled them. Debt is crippling, man. Like that's why when I hear people say like, "Oh, there's good debt," it's like, no, you fucking moron. There's not good debt. Debt is bad. Debt is negative. Maybe the property that you bought, was good. You're living in a house now, so you're not like on the streets, you're paying rent, you're building equity, yada yada yada. But guess what? On the balance sheet, debt is negative. It's still negative. If you had all the money and then you just and then you bought the house, then yeah, you'd be even better because you'd have the house and you wouldn't have the debt. The fact is that debt is still the negative, And like people,
Yeah.
economists nowadays, they're like, oh, there's good debt. I fucking want to strangle those people that say there's good debt because like
So
that
how do you-
mentality is why that's why we can't open businesses, Gus. We can't open
yeah,
businesses.
I mean, well, here's the thing though. What if you're fresh out of high school and you need to live in a house to raise your family, and you have no money because you haven't even started working for profit
Dude,
yet?
how
How are you gonna own a house?
I'm talking about just the language. I'm talking about the language. I'm not saying that, getting a
Because-
house. I'm not saying that
Because
getting
the
a mortgage is
alternative
bad.
would be like a socialist kind of environment where
Right.
the state gives you a house.
Well, no,
and then
Gus,
you just
Gus.
work for the state,
I'm not saying that getting a mortgage is a bad decision. I'm just saying that the language of saying that there is some good debt is a completely fallacious argument. Fallacious? I'm not trying to say phallus. I'm trying to say fallacy. I don't know fallacious. Anyway, I think that getting a mortgage might be a good decision. In a lot of cases, it is. But I would also say that I would just say that I don't like the term good debt. I just don't like that term because there is no good debt.
Because it can be used in other places besides having a mortgage for a brand new family or, student loans.
Well, with debt you have to pay interest, and interest is just a burden, man.
It is,
it's
but
something you have
in
to-
the end, it's like,
Exponential.
it's a fee for loaning money.
It's not even a fee, dude. It's exponential. Like a fee would be flat. This is an exponential thing. So like if
Oh.
I stop paying my student loans, those things could accrue interest and accrue and accrue and accrue and accrue. And guess what? They fucking expect you to pay that which had accrued.
I guess it depends on the bank.
So it grows. Depends on the bank, dude.
I don't know. It's like this bank.
No, they
sometimes,
all
like,
accrue.
maybe they like lobbied this system in to make it like mandatory. It's like it's the bank in control of creating this interest.
Yeah, but how do you want to play a Monopoly game where the banker or whoever like can just change the rules of the game like at their whim, you know.
All right.
That's the thing that sucks. And they determine where all the money goes. They determine who gets loans. They determine who's credit worthy. Meanwhile, they say that mortgage derivative securities are AAA rated, and then everybody buys them because now there's this overly inflated demand for them that shouldn't be there. And then you got the housing bubble, and then you just keep spending money that you don't have because like you're
All
living.
right. John's off for tonight. His internet quit, and he's just said he's going to go to bed.
Oh,
so.
okay. Well, yeah, this podcast is getting kind of long. I don't know how much longer we want to do this.
Well, you're probably going to edit out a lot of parts, so.
I actually
cut it
don't think.
short.
I think I'm gonna let the whole thing ride. I think I'm just gonna let it all ride. I think it's all right. All of its stupidity
Yeah, I
and
guess.
really fine. All right. Do you want to get some?
We'll get better as time progresses.
You want to go get some like some tacos or not? You want to get some like Thai food or something? Or did you get Thai last night? Or Vietnamese?
I had Thai last night.
I'd be up for whatever. I just want to get some food.
We'll do something.
What you think?
Okay. All right, I'll call you later.
Okay. Well, I can come over to your.
Alright.
I could come over to your neck of the woods.
Okay, yeah, that's ideal.
Okay. Do you want me to drive over there now?
Nah. I mean, unless you're starving, so.
All right. Maybe in like 30 minutes or an hour.
All right.
All right, dude. Later.
All right, see ya.
How do I stop?